We don't very often get lots of members of the public, so it is nice to see you all. So the safety precautions, we're not planning to have a fire alarm go off in here tonight, but if one should go off, we've got two escapes. One is the door you all came in, and one's behind me, and then we can all meet up outside to make sure we're all safe. Okay? Right, and we will be recording this meeting. Does anyone else want to record it? No? Okay, right here. Right then, so, yes?
If anyone wishes to say anything and they don't want it to be recorded, if you let me know, I'll make sure it's edited out. We won't be recording video backwards at all. Some people have said, okay, just comment on what I've said as well, so just let me know and it will go anywhere else.
Yeah, okay, right then. So we'll start with our chaplain's thought for the day.
Thank you. Perhaps it's me, but it's all been feeling rather bleak lately. Perhaps it's due to such a wet March, or war continuing in various parts of the world, tensions running high in Jerusalem, witnessing extreme winds demolish homes and livelihoods. Closer to home, the cost of living crisis is still with us. Food inflation is high and energy expensive. Christians are now keeping Holy Week, when we journey with Jesus from adulation on Palm Sunday to abandonment on Good Friday, from friendship to betrayal, from Alleluia to crucify. Yet, despite the bleakness of the cross of shame, there is hope. Because at Easter, that same cross becomes the tree of life, a symbol of hope and love. Hope emerges from death. Death is not the end, but a new beginning. Hope is resurrection. Hope springs eternal. The sunshine today revealed the beauty, the hope of spring, the hope of new life. Hope is all around us in the small things, if only we looked. The smile, the crocus, an act of kindness, the cherry blossom, children's laughter, eggs, chocolate or not. I hope we can all find some hope this coming week. Perhaps even some Easter hope. Happy Easter to you all.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Right then, so we now go on to public question time, and it can't last for too long because otherwise it takes our meeting on a very long time. But so if somebody would like to speak.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Deb. Nice to meet you all.
Yes.
Okay, so the first point really I think most people are concerned about is the drastic increase in the insurance cost coming this year and your proposed tying into a 3-year agreement. So my questions are this: has James Hallam advised the reason why the drastic increase? And I believe it went up 2,000 from the previous year before that. Have you contacted other providers, and if so, which companies and what were their comparative costs? When is the renewal date, and are you able to release a copy of the policy schedule to the public? The reason I'm asking this is because I did contact Zurich Insurance direct, and without prompting, they actually said to me, is your town council insured through James Hallam? Yes, they are. And apparently they had lots and lots of inquiries from other town councils saying their premiums have gone through the roof this time as well. And they're pretty damn sure that they can improve on the actual cost. So I'm just saying, has it been looked into thoroughly? Thank you.
To answer that.
Yeah.
We did get 2 quotations, one from Gallagher's and one from James Hallam. Hallam's was the cheaper of the 2. The town council market has been what's known as a soft market over the last 8 years or so. When I started in the sector, there was only one provider, Zurich Municipal, and those very long memories will remember that at one point we didn't even have any, because they were just about to go to the wall when there was a Lloyd's issue with underwriting. I can read you something from Hallam that said we're in a difficult position with a very hard market, effectively reduced capacity, so there are insurers that are less willing to write new business. It's the same with energy as well, and increased ratings. Many commercial clients have seen in excess of 200% rate increases over the last 2 years, and their own professional indemnity has gone up by over 150%. The main issue is that the council insures rebuild value costs of over £7.5 million in building costs, building values. 2 things have happened since COVID and since the exit from the EU, and that is an increase in cost of building materials and a decrease in supply. The effect of that has an impact on insurance costs when it comes to rebuild. That is a fact of life. So if we were the only council in the world to be looking at this size of increase, I'd be worried. But I know personally that I have dealt with another council where similar increases were incurred, and I, in another life, I deal with a number of councils as an internal auditor, and at least 2 of those have seen significant increases in their insurance costs. The parish and council sector is now considered a hot market. So yes, despite the short period of time, because the other question you asked is when does it renew, and that is the 1st of April. So this is a ratification of the insurance policy, because we need to be insured from the 1st of April. So the council has done what it can within its limitations. It's gone to 2 providers within the sector. It's considered both options. The town hall at the moment is slightly higher risk than it would normally be, because it's undergoing building, and things are insured at replacement cost. So they are the reasons. So rest assured that we've done what we can.
Sorry, can I ask a question? So I work at Gallagher's, and I've been in insurance for 23 years. And I haven't seen anything on my desk about us closing where we are now. I understand what you're saying about the market, and the market is difficult, and there are new insurers who have come on board. I looked at the information you sent on the agenda, and I thought to myself, why would you enter into a 3-year long-term agreement?
Well, no, that is,
Okay.
there is an option for council to consider a 3-year option
Okay.
with a guaranteed 5% increase. Now, based on the fact that inflation at the moment is running at 10.4%, that might be a sensible thing, but in 3 years' time, it might not be.
Well, it wouldn't be at the moment. At the moment, it's in the worst condition it can be in, isn't it?
What's that?
It's undergoing renovation, the building.
Yeah,
so,
looks
so
like
once the
when
building
it's
once the building is finished, then
yeah,
it's in a
it
great
will cost
position
more
to
to replace.
Absolutely.
So there are challenges within that as well. So you have to, people mistake the fact that town and parish councils might seem normal. They're not. They're a specialist market.
But the market, the scheme that you're referring to, that is with Zurich at the moment,
No,
it's not. It's under a scheme at the moment, that product policy with Zurich. It's on
with the
okay. It's on the town hall. I've spoken to my colleagues in Zurich. It's on a closed scheme with Zurich on a previous broker that broker you're with now acquired, and that's for town halls specifically. And what's happened is that town hall scheme has been hit quite hard, hence where the incomes have come from. That's why that income has happened, because it's a scheme. If you have, I don't know, a group of scout halls, if that group of scout halls has a massive claim, then everybody within that scheme suffers. And that's what's happening on this one. Property has been impacted, I totally agree, but there are more and more insurers that have come up through COVID, and the rates have decreased. I've just insured an industrial estate up at Westfield, and that premium has gone down dramatically.
So on top of just doing the building, we have to do public liability.
Yep.
We have to indemnify councillors.
Yep.
We have to indemnify staff. Yep. We have to provide cover for volunteers for the council.
Yep.
It is a complicated business.
I insure specialist, and that is a hard.
Yeah. So to get, I mean, I know one council that's had to go to 3 different insurers. We use the broker. And Zurich are a specialist, but there are differences, as we all know, within insurance. There are differences about the amount that, I can never remember the word, but the amount that you pay before you can, what's it called? Excess. You have, Zurich keep their costs down, and believe me, I've been in the sector 33 years, I've insured with them all. In different councils. Zurich keep their costs down because they increase the excesses. Now that is a risk that the council might take, and it's a risk they might not take. At the moment, we need to be insured, and I'm not an insurance expert, but I spent quite a long time very recently talking to 2 or 3 people within the sector, including Zurich, and whatever they might say publicly, they are saying to town and parish clerks, it's a hot market. And I can't control the cost of the increases in insurance premiums that are impacted on town and parish councils. And over the last 8 years, the insurance costs have gone up over those 8 years by 10%. They have not gone up at the right rate of increase that they should have done. So we're having, it's a bit like energy, we're suffering from the situation of people being in a very competitive market, and then other people falling away. I mean, I years ago I went to the farmers one, NFU, and they actually pulled out of, we went through the whole thing, this was years ago, and they pulled out because they said it's too complicated to do. It was the parish council, had a turnover of £100,000.
That's a farming industry.
Yeah, and that's right, but it's...
and I like to sound like, I've done my diploma, I'm now doing my ACLA qualification for insurance, so I kind of like to think I know what I'm talking about, and I don't agree.
So when you're replacing a building, like the town hall, at the moment it's insured for £3.5 million to rebuild. Okay, that's why I say that over our portfolio of buildings, our building insurance costs are £7.5 million.
Can I ask when the last valuation was done on that building?
they'll have to have another revaluation.
So do that in the last 3 years?
Yes, because they, well, I presume so, I don't know, I've encountered building value.
I would imagine so.
Maybe
Because
part of
the
the
insurance-
Insurance
Yeah.
company would
It has to be
have.
RICS, it's not a valuation just at the bank, it has to be a RICS valuation, you should have every 3 years.
Yeah, well, I presume they have, I mean, I've never been in instance better.
I think we're at the risk of digressing.
Yes, I think we need
So
to.
It's very interesting.
Last question
Well, good
then.
point.
Sorry, are you able to release a copy of the policy
No.
schedule to the public?
No.
You're not?
No,
That's-
because it's it's commercially sensitive. I wouldn't release our current insurance policy to a competitor, so I'm certainly not going to release it to members of the public. It is an exempt item.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming and questioning it anyway. Anyone else?
I might just ask one,
Sure.
but I'm not going to take up much time at all tonight.
Thank you.
That's a pleasure. So, first of all, thank you for producing a budget. Good to see a budget. It's a shame, I'm no expert on insurance, so I'm not going to question that. But I would say it's a shame to see that the budget is going into a £10,000 deficit on day one with the insurance issue, and just perhaps that demonstrates the need to produce a budget before a preset. But that's probably why that's best practice, so that you can account for these costing issues. Certainly, it demonstrates the need to keep the reserves at a healthy level. So that's something that perhaps the council and the new one need to look at that reserve level, because that will help to counteract this sort of issue. But anyway, rather than producing a budget, I'm sure the public will be reassured they can see where you're spending the money.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything?
Yeah, just very quickly, I get some more statements because I know that getting answers is sometimes quite difficult. So obviously in the budget we've still got 6,425 for street marshals, and despite my questions at the last meeting and my email reply, I still not actually have an answer as to what the council think that that's actually going to provide for the town. So I'm still quite keen to understand that. Additionally, we've now got a budget line for warden support, which we've never had before. Just really question if that is needed and viable, because that money could be reallocated to street marshals and would give us more than enough money to provide the service that the local people actually want. And lastly, the town clerk job, I noted that was advertised as full time. It was then limited. It was agreed that it would be appointed locum on a part-time basis until October. However, I felt that this was re-advertised to the general public, which obviously would be a little bit of a contentious issue if there were people who would have liked to apply that in a part-time role and now was unable to do so. They're my statements really, expecting answers.
Well,
I can answer that this council can't make decisions on any of those items until the new council is appointed.
It's a bit late though, isn't it?
Oh,
Because you
sorry,
said
does that mean they can't agree the budget tonight then?
No, because the budget has already been agreed.
So we should be able to answer what the 6,425 is for, as you just agreed. You'll agree it in about half an hour.
No, if you do your research and you look at the minutes, you will see that it's allocated for the new council to consider how it wishes to spend that money, right? And the new council will have the authority, its own authority, under the new when it's elected, to decide where it spends the money that it is not directed specifically at overheads.
Well, let's hope we can get volunteers, because we're not going to have to pull anything else, are we?
Sorry?
So let's hope we can get volunteers to act as street marshals, because you've left us spending money, or the new council only money to
Well,
employ them.
there's an election coming up, and my suggestion really to everybody in the public gallery is stand. If you want to make a difference, stand. You don't have to be a member of a political party. Stand, become part of the town council, and then you can do what you like within the democratic
I think
process.
that's the issue, isn't it? People do what they like, that's not really anywhere right now, is it?
Well, no, you
That
have
has
to.
be one
You
of the
have
accounts
to.
that they do what they like and they do
You
what the
have
public like.
to agree as a council, as a corporate body, as how you want to spend the money. So join the council, get elected, and then you can make and be part of the decision-making process that covers this level of local authority governance. It's free to everybody.
You do welcome people to stand, although I think when people do stand, they find it's sometimes harder than they think. And it's not like we're up here trying to do a bad job.
I don't think
Some
anyone-
people haven't even managed to last the full length of the term, so it is difficult. So I welcome people coming back, and honestly,
We don't,
more people are getting
on
involved.
public record why
It's great.
people didn't. We can put that on
So-
video if you like.
So, is there anyone else? No? Then we'll carry on, we'll actually start the meeting, the council meeting as such. Okay. So, on the agenda, we have apologies for absence from Brian and from Michael.
Yes, work and personal.
Yeah, Brian's working and Michael's not well.
I
Right.
don't think he's, actually I think he's on holiday.
Is he? Oh, right, so Michael's away on holiday. Right, okie doke. Mayor's announcements. Right, well, it's been an interesting period of time since our last meeting. Yes. Do you know about Sound Vision? It started with Don Chambers from the radio station, and he developed this, and the whole idea is for people who have sort of slight problems to get jobs and to fit into the community easier. Absolutely amazing, and it's growing like mad. And they had an event up at the Centurion, and there were quite a few youngsters there who've developed and are now really doing well. So it was lovely to go there and see that. Some of you may have noticed on the high street there was a beauty salon opened a couple of weeks ago, which fortunately is another empty shop now open. Thank you, great. And also on Friday we were at Longvale School judging the Easter items for the children. Absolutely amazing. The things they were making were hats, pictures and gardens. And honestly, it started with 4-year-olds actually doing this right up to the end. And it was great to go and judge them. Great, brilliant. So yeah, that's my announcements. So we now move on to 266, declarations of interest. Does anyone have a declaration of interest bearing in mind what's coming up? No? Okay, great. 267, exclusion of the press and public. Unfortunately, we don't have the press here tonight, but I'm afraid we're going to have to ask the public to leave if you're all in agreement.
I can propose that.
Second, Richard, all in favour? Thank you. Sorry, we will be asking you all to leave later. Right, 268, minutes of the meeting held on the 20th of March. Any questions, any queries? Proposal by Steve, second Gordon. Those in favour? Okay, yeah, and you want that signed? Oh, I can. And the date is the 4th, 23. Okay. Cheers. Right, so item 269, to receive verbal reports from the Town Council standing committees. Planning?
I have no comment. No, I just want to say that I think we basically made no comments at our recent planning apart from on minor issues, so nothing in addition to the published minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right, so 270, to hear reports from councillors attending meetings of outside bodies. Yes, Martin.
Sorry, me again. It was brought up at the last meeting, we had 2 weeks ago, but I had a Zoom online meeting with Youth Connect Southwest to talk about what they were delivering and the sort of provision they're offering in the area and how that fits in with the wider area. And so that came as part of our discussions 2 weeks ago, the last meeting. And I sent out those notes to all council members and to the clerk. Then we've had a community trust meeting that some of the members here were on the 14th of March, which we discussed upcoming events, including like the banners that have gone up down the high street,
Yes.
and events that happened over the summer, and arts trails and benches and all those sorts of things that the Cultural Consortium are doing. And then there was a town fair and a town show and a music festival meeting on the 23rd of March, which just to report back on is progressing very well.
Filled the front page of last week's journal.
Yeah, so lots of events going to go this summer.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah. Anyone else? No? Well, I attended the Summer Valley Forum meeting, and the two main things there, we had an update on the Radco building. I know it's not in Midsomer Norton, but it is quite important to us that that should actually be developed. So that was done, and also the thing that would involve us is the Summer Valley Enterprise Zone. And that was the information about that was amazing, really. So the more information we can get and seeing it moving in the way it's actually wanted is a good thing. And then also the other thing that we were at was the farmers market, which I know isn't a meeting as such, but although despite the wet, there was quite a lot of people there, weren't there?
We did surprisingly well under the craft fair, to be honest. And
Yes,
It
yes.
was great to have good councillors and councillors past visiting us on the day, which was fun.
Yeah, it was really good, that. Okay then, so we move on to 271, accounts for payment. So to review purchases over £250. Any queries? No? Proposal? Steve? Pete, second. All those in favour? Yeah, everyone in favour? Purchases under 250. Any queries? No? Okay, proposal to accept? Mike? And Gordon, second. Those all in favour? Thank you. Right, on to 272. The financial reports. Looking for queries? Questions?
Very much as we had expected at this stage of the council.
Right. No queries?
Proposal.
Yep, proposed. Steve, second. Richard, all in favour? Okay, thank you very much. On to 273, the insurance proposal. Any questions, queries, suggestions? Steve?
No, I would have questioned it anyway, but somebody from the public did it for me. But yeah, I've had it explained to Polly Airport today anyway, so yeah, well, I mean, if we have alternative quotes, then we've done due diligence, haven't we? So yeah.
Are we not in a position to, or do we not feel it's urgent to have further quotes, or are we not able to just have right, so it has to
Having said, is it prudent not to enter into a long-term agreement when we think prices are particularly high? And bear in mind we will be binding a decision for future councils. So although it kind of seems, I'm no expert either in insurance, but it seems like maybe the insurance premiums keep on going in such a direction it would be prudent to fix. But maybe for this discussion we should just accept it.
So the inflation is going to come down anyway, doesn't it? So I would have thought that we could possibly get better quotes. So I assume it's just a year it won't forward it. Yeah,
Yeah, you only have to take insurance out, presumably, yeah.
so during the year we could get alternative quotes anyway, couldn't we? See what we can get.
Yeah, I think the issue really is that we didn't have very much time. To be honest, the quotes were very, very late coming in anyway, so there's little time to review, bearing in mind that we needed cover. So it's certainly on the next town clerk's to-do list to go out to the whole market and review the schedule that you've got. Theoretically, by that time, the phase 1 of the town hall will be completed. So there will be, and as was said in the public gallery, you probably need to carry out a revaluation of your buildings during the year to make sure that you are properly insured. So it's a longer piece of work than was we were able to undertake. Bear in mind, you're right.
If I could lock my insurance in for 5% a year, I would. But again, this is something that should be looked at by the next council, who will obviously have a lot more experience than anybody else. So,
Oh my God.
Any other?
Well, I was expecting a fairly sizable renewal rate because we had a standard sort of general colour for the council, but we didn't have the responsibility for the buildings that we have now. And on top of that, there is a separate policy to cover the risk on the building in the construction work going on in the town hall. So I was expecting to see something around about 11,000, because that would have been the total of the rough total of the 2 previous policies. So 17,000 did come out of left field a bit. But now that we've had the explanation from the clerk, the situation that's prevailing, I don't see that we can do anything else other than ratify it, otherwise we're uninsured.
Do we have to do anything to ratify it? Do we have to take a vote on that?
You just have to accept it.
Yeah, so we have to agree with this though. We have to agree, so we'll have a proposal. Pete and a seconder. Yeah, Richard, okay, so all those in favour of, so this is a single year?
yeah.
Right, okay.
Just to say, I assume that once all the work is finished in the town hall, there'll be a new evaluation done on it.
Yes.
And be an entirely new insurance project.
Yeah, okay.
So can I propose we do not enter into the 3-year agreement at this
No,
stage?
that's right, yes, we've just proposed and agreed the first one, yes, yeah, for 1 year. Okay. Right, 274, the update on the town hall.
I got it.
Yeah, I did send out a report to members. There's been a new project plan developed, which is still being discussed. So until they are quite happy with the timeline, which has a number of delays, it would be inappropriate to suggest the end date of the project, because it might come forward, it might go back, but I would think it's going to come forward a bit. There were a number of items. Sorry, I got a cold over the weekend, and I'm just coming out of the other side of it. So there was an issue with the with propping up of the building. so significant propping had to be undertaken. They're also doing quite a lot of archaeological, they're basically excavating. The plus side is that because of that, the final level of the floor is going to be lower. So instead of having the requirement of a ramp out front, they will now just be able to create a mound so that you have DDA access without the requirement of a ramp, which is really useful because that piece of land that it goes over at the moment is unregistered, so nobody knows who owns it. But it is part of the highway and all the rest of it. As part of that, we had to look at different some measures to do with radon. That's a requirement by building regs, and we finally bottomed that out. The wall that they were originally hoping to retain parts of has had to be demolished completely. That's the wall that had no footings underneath. So that's now been demolished. The bunker, which we were holding on to for dear life, has now been taken out. And actually the building, it's a real shame that we're actually putting officers at the end, but that was just because the building looks absolutely fabulous inside, because it's just this massive space. And I did take some photos on Friday, and obviously we upload photos on a regular basis. So work is progressing. There are one or two items that have had to be signed off, but we're hoping now that once the radon and the flushing units, I forgot what they're called, draining things, are in, then the project will pick up speed again. But it has been delayed because of various issues, mainly no foundations. And there is still water ingress into the building, which is being dealt with, but they've now put the infrastructure of the basic infrastructure of drainage in there. So it's all moving forward. I think we've got over a couple of months of challenge. So hopefully the reports from now on will be more positive. I have asked the architect to come to the next business council meeting, which will be on the 5th of June, I think, to apprise the new council of the project to date, and to confirm its timescale for the completion of phase 1, and progress into developing phase 2 of the building, which will include a number of grant applications. I will try and answer any questions if anybody has any.
Yeah, Paul. But it does say on the report that's sent out that it's to come to council on the 3rd of April with a report. So when can we expect? We've got to wait till the 5th of June for the next report. Well, they were meeting on the 31st of March.
I sent you a report.
But you sent something in, it said any key items or items on the site that were reported there in the council meeting on the 3rd of April.
That's what we do.
But so this is not from the project manager then?
No, she's actually on holiday at the moment, so I've made sure that she's booked in on the 5th of June.
So when is the next time? I'm concerned about the assembly rooms, obviously, you know, the community trust, we're expecting to be there in January. I don't know if they know, but we were reported to at our meeting about when the date might be.
Yeah, well, I have talked to Alex today, and I mean, he was obviously in the same office, so he is part of the discussions. He's the employee of the community trust, so he's fully up to speed with how the project is going. As I say, I'm in contact with him. He was invited to come to the. We have monthly site meetings, and we also have quite regular remote meetings to discuss various issues.
I did go in with Alex on Friday to have a look, and it is in a pretty bad state. And we're keen to get some things from upstairs, you know, and we're keen to get back in there. But the chap who's in charge there said he wouldn't even allow his own people to go up there because of the risks. And you can see from what's holding up the ceiling from below, it's not very stable at the moment. And so there's no chance at the moment of getting up there. Probably for the next couple of months, I would have thought, to get upstairs.
Well, what they've got to do is there is some steels that have got to go in. They're goalpost type steels on the and the 3 of those to go on the side of the building.
Yeah.
Part of the issue up at the top is water ingress, and bearing in mind that it's wood, water and wood don't often mix very well. So there is an amount of work to be done to improve the structural viability of the floor itself as it goes into the eaves. The wall's got to be built at the front, which now no longer exists. So that will hold the front end, and then the 3 steels, as you go along the building, you can see where they're going to go, so between the windows, will then feed in and hold there's a massive beam that goes right through the centre of the building, and that's an original beam. And it looks like it will hold everything up there, but it needs some support. So visually at the end of it, you'll see steels on the side, but not underneath, and that holds the structures in.
Yeah.
At the moment, quite a number of the floorboards, floor joists between 50 and 75 mil wide. They should really be 100 mil wide. So there's a whole lot of reinforcing that's got to go on.
This is all expected to be in January.
Yeah.
This is all been
Even some of the outside walls have to be underpinned.
Yeah.
They have to be dug out and underpinned underneath the existing outer walls.
It's always worth
It's lucky it stood up.
I was going to say, if the work hadn't started, when it started,
exactly.
the town hall
Wonder how
would
long
be
it
gone.
would have been, yes.
And I know there are people out there who would wish that to happen, but it would have been terrible to lose the building.
Chuck said it was it's the worst one he's ever worked on.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a very long job because you hit 1, miss 2, you drive 20 mil steel bars into the clay each side of that concrete, you pour your pad in, which is the underpin, then you move up again, and you've got to come all the way back to the same process. When you take the sword away, there's the steel's ready for the next concrete thing going on to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's also got woodwork as well.
We have a lot to thank the Victorians for.
It's an issue with Grade 2 listed buildings. It's just the quality of work and some of the work that's happened between the original structure and the point when the guys went in there to start stripping it out has varied from bad to pretty atrocious. And the only structure within there, I mean, the wall, for example, was just basically bits of brick and stone flung in. That held, how it held the thing up is they're still trying to work out. So there is, I can understand, and you know, we're not trying to hide anything, but and I can understand the frustration, but when tenders were, I presume, originally submitted, they didn't sort of hack down half the ceiling to see what it looked like underneath, and the challenges of a Grade 2 listed building are mighty. So it is a work in progress. We are trying to get a level of momentum back up. We have tried to keep, I've tried to keep Alex informed. He's been at a couple of meetings that I've been at. So we are trying to do the best we can in quite challenging environment.
Yeah, I understand, yeah. Well, that deadline, that report, literally the 5th of June is beyond the deadline for the completion of phase 1.
Yeah, but you're not going to get. I mean, we have got a new timescale, but it hasn't been interrogated enough to identify whether that's whether it's too long or whether we can reduce it. So they're currently requesting extension. There's a technical term for it, but they need to apply for a formal extension to the original contract. And it's not just, I have to say, it's not just the contractors in there. Everything that happens that changes has to go through listed building and pass the listed building officer. So when we come to rebuild the wall, they have to agree what brick front they're happy with. They have to agree what colour mortar. So we're looking at Taunton red at the moment, but there are lots of technical elements, and quite a lot of it is outside the remit of Ian, who's site manager, and he can't do anything unless he's formally instructed. Otherwise, it creates more issues. So, we're working within the parameters that we've been given.
Okay. Right then, on to 275, the revised budget. So do you have any comments from any of you? Yes, Gordon.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to people, got to remember we started off at 17.8% rise, which I don't think any of us felt was going to be acceptable to people in a time of people are struggling. And I think it wasn't so much the increase as well. I don't think we'd identified a real justification. There wasn't part of a strategy at the time, and I think that's why we were correct to reflect on that. And we've had to make some tough decisions.
Spent a lot of time doing it.
We spent a lot of time doing it. There's been the odd heated debate, I'm sure, but we've now got a budget which is within our stated financial guidelines. And I think it will be up to the next council to work together and possibly devise perhaps a new strategy of creating the budget, so we can have a slightly smoother process. So we create a strategy and we create a budget to achieve that strategy, and then we can provide a budget that we can then justify to the public that achieves our aims. So that's where we are. I think we've done quite a good job. I'd like to say particular thanks to Paul, because really talk about being dropped in it at the deep end.
Yes.
Just after Christmas or whatever. The budget, as it's actually presented to us today, is well laid out, it's coherent, and it's what we've managed to achieve. So I think thanks for that, and I'm in favour of that budget. I'd propose that budget.
Can I ask about the warden's support?
Please.
Did we agree on the warden's support?
Yeah.
As the warden's support, was it turned out? Does that include the van? Is that an extra warden? It's slightly paid to that, I think. That's not the wardens, the town wardens.
There's going to be times when the warden's going to be on holiday or sick, and then you might have to employ somebody, so there needs to be a budget for that.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I know we discussed that at length. I remember we sort of put that. Where can you explain where the van is? I know there's a van allowance, but how are you funding the van?
We bought that.
So that's not included in. Right. So that's coming out of this month.
So you've got 4051 on page 11 of your agendas, and there's a £5,000 allocation to the van. We have actually bought it this year. So that will initially cover things like maintenance, insurance, stuff like that, because obviously those are things that will be in the lease agreement. So I go back to what I said about the new council. There is an opportunity for them to review this budget when they take up office. Probably not in the first week or two, because I think they've probably got to understand what their commitments are, and how they want to focus. And we're talking a bit about trying to help the council understand its direction in the confidential items when we're talking about potential, which you as a council won't be making a decision on. But the sort of ideas behind an organisational review, so that you understand what your the next 4 years as a council, that council wants to. When questions are asked, they have a bunch of answers. So that will. I mean, to be honest, there's going to be some savings in this budget, because with the best will in the world, no recruitment can take place until the new council comes in, and that will start pretty well as soon as they do come in. But there's a lead time. There's always a lead time for somebody within the sector that might want to take this fantastic council on. They might have to give 3 months' notice. So there is a lead time that we've built into the timescales, and unfortunately, is unachieved. So it's so you will have some savings within your overall structure, because you're down to full-time members of staff. So there's a lot that you can do, and next year when you start doing your budget review in September, October this year, there might well be some areas of savings that you'll have identified by then that you can add to your strategic vision for the following year. So it is what it is. I worked with what you had provided, and based on the leaflet that's gone out. So this reflects directly to the leaflet. But it's governments have come in at national level and re-budgeted. I seem to remember something in 2010, and it moved on from there. So there's so there is opportunity for council to review this when it takes up new council.
Right. Are there any other comments? Yes, Steve.
Are we riding keep to continue to call it street marshals for that 6 days? Because really, it could be something else. Could be improved or increased CCTV or something like that.
We did talk about just making it a
Street security or something like that. Because it implies that you're going to think about marshals, but of course it might be improved CCTV or.
We did agree to change the name of it.
Yeah, we did. I thought.
Yeah, and on the council tax leaflet, it has changed. Because I changed it, but I forgot to change it. Anyway, there you go, by mobile.
Right. Okay, so are you all happy with this? Do you want it proposed? Gordon propose it. Steve second. All in favour of it as it is? Just changing the street marshal bit. Yeah. Okay. Right, on to 276. So, can we do this or not?
Okay, so I would, I've done some work today on your grant sorry, I'm talking a lot too much. On your grants, the budget you just adopted had £19,000 in the grants. In November 2020, you gave Summer Valley FM a 3-year grant, or a £9,000 grant spread over 3 years, and their last payment is in April. So we're just currently actioning that last 3,000. Also around that time, we gave Farmers Market a 4,600 grant, 3,600, can't do the maths, over 3 years, so it's £1,200 a year, and that was that's currently being actioned. In November last year, you gave Summer Valley FM a further £9,000 grant for general running costs spread over 3 years, which starts in April this year. So, so far, under your grants, you have you've incurred costs of £7,200, which leaves a total of 11,800. So my advice, which you can take or leave, is that I think you are obliged to defer both the trauma breakthrough and the Midsomer Norton Scout group applications, which, if you gave the full amount, would leave you with £1,800 for the new council for basically for 11 months. However you might look at it, I don't think that is a realistic situation you can really agree to. With regard to the community trust, there is £15,000 in your budget. £10,000 of that is their normal grant that I think you give them annually, and there's another £5,000 which they will, I presume, at some point in the future apply for, which goes towards salaries, subsidy of salary of their officer. So that really is a ratification. It's in the budget. It's the view of the council. I shouldn't think, unless they really want to undermine the community trust. I think you're totally entitled to formally agree to the community trust's grant of £10,000. But I do think that you need to defer the other two grants purely because it puts the new council in a disadvantage.
Yeah, so we need that for them to keep it running.
Yeah, on the checks.
But the community trust.
Community trust is already budgeted.
Yes, because we've already done that, yes. So.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Just ask that, I agree. I think the two grant bids should be deferred to the next council.
Yes.
And the community trust should be, because it's itemized already, the budget should go ahead. They've got the paper we've got is the £2,000 for the arts festival, £4,000 for the arts programme, £8,000 for the summer fair. They're all allocated within the budget as well, so those we should be able to do. Otherwise, we don't do it now. They can't go ahead.
That's right. Yeah. So,
as I say, we're not being advisable to give grants at this late stage, unexpected grants at this late stage in the beginning. That's why we brought the outfield one through earlier, because it's so close to an election that would be during the pre-election period. But I'll say one thing is we should perhaps write to those organisations and explain that it's not just an out no. Might be or depending on the council, but it's certainly not from us. It's just
because of the situation at the moment.
It's very close to an election.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so we're talking about community community trusts then, and to continue their already organised. So, do we have a proposal? Gordon, seconder, Martin, everyone in favour of that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the others here, we're going to, as Gordon suggests, we contact them and explain that because of the situation with the, the election coming up, and that will have to go through the new council. So, yes.
Will they have to reapply?
Will they? No, because we've got all the application, haven't we?
So we'll just tell the bigger decision will be deferred until.
I think it's a missed opportunity not to do the trauma breakthrough. Because there's nothing out for adult people in that area. We do spend a lot of money on other things. I think that's quite an important thing we should be looking at to support this area.
It is, but I don't know because of the time it is in the round.
I know, yeah, I agree with that one. The next council should look at this. Try if the budget's going to be tight, it should probably, unless you're arts and all that, but maybe we should readjust how we're spending money to try and do things like that, reduce it on the arts and other stuff like that. We should get a lot more expense anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's something that we've talked to the new council and hope that that's the way things go. Yeah. So, is everybody happy with, do we want a proposal and a seconder to transfer the rest onto the new council?
Yes. Well, just
defer it.
Defer it to the new council, yes.
Propose it.
Pete, and Lynn to second. Everybody happy? Yeah, okay, right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, through that door on the left. Yes.
It's the first time I think we've ever virtually refused a true, really supporting grant.
Yes. But then, I think the only thing you can say about this is it's not a refusal. It's a delay.
We discussed it and said, the grant's not big enough. And we should write that as bigger proposal. Of course, they just sat there. We went up to them and said, have you ever had any else? I just got refused. Oh, you need to reapply. That's why I said it's so important to get back to people and say,
yes, that's a good idea.
Just to make sure, whichever way we move.
They got their extra money in the end.
Yes. What's very interesting as well, it's so good grant has been coming as a council. Such a difference. I think all the outfit guys coming up.
No, but it's, is it something? Do you want to carry on? All right, we'll carry on.
You want to carry on?
Well, we just.
Yeah, Martin, wait, Martin's always
All right.
Yeah. He's on
No. Okay then, so back to the agenda, 277, the coronation celebrations.
Yep.
So you...
Did I make any notes? Probably. I thought I had. Yeah, I had. What about 276? Yeah, so there will be a coronation, I can confirm that. The date is now set in stone. Timing is not set in stone yet. Interestingly. And I did not actually publish the actual time. But yeah, so I've kind of put together a bit of a blueprint of the book. Spoken with the rugby club are doing a fairly major event that weekend. The cricket club are trying to do events on both days, which is really good. So that fills up a few pages. Mike Evans, legend, he's written a book himself about the history, so that's super, that fills up lots of pages.
Monica's the historian.
Is that right? That's fantastic. So that's some good stuff. And then we've got a couple of suggestions from members of the public that have come forward and said they can put a little piece in.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a busy week. I feel like it's going to have most of it done this week, if it's going to happen. But as long as we can get something and it advertises a few things, I think we'll have done quite well, considering. There's a couple of questions I had that maybe Paul could answer. Can it be printed in-house? We do have a very expensive book.
How many are you looking for?
I don't know. Maybe like
It's
700?
Yeah, it is, how many pages?
Well, probably about, say, 8. So let's say 8 A5 pages. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
8 pages.
I mean, I don't know very much about your photocopy, but the only challenge really is collation.
Does it do stapling? Well, we can find out. You can get. I don't know about printing copies, but anyway, I just want to check that, and we need to decide how many copies do you think we need.
I'll get back to it.
There's 4,000 houses in this town, and they want one copy. But you know, we need to be able to distribute it. If it's going to be useful, we need to make sure it's well distributed. I don't think we should have it posted out. We should just make sure that it's, we'll get hopefully one of the press to pick it up from the library and the Unit 14 and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've taken stuff over, Tesco will allow you to put stuff in there.
Right.
Lidl's will allow you to put
And
stuff in there.
Sainsbury's.
Drop off a quote in the schools,
And
perhaps.
then we've got some holders that they can go into.
Okay. So
How many pages is it going to be?
well, I don't know. We could fill 8 small pages. You know, like 4 of these.
A5.
4 of these. Yeah, A5s. That's the idea. But you know, hoping so.
You know,
Might start
multiple
looking into
printers
can do that.
When you,
and place it and the staple.
when you hope to have this ready by?
Well, I'm hoping, as I said, to get the vast majority of it basically ready to print by the end of the week or by just the far side of Easter, otherwise everything's going to be too late. But I'm just waiting for a couple of key people to come back with firm details, and I think that's enough that we can get by, and then if we can squeeze anything else in, so the benefit. So as long as it's laid out and stuff, I mean, computers are good at this sort of stuff.
Well, if there's help needed with collation, then
Okay. Well, the big one is
put my name down for that.
a bit of input.
And I think the Office or Community Trust has got one of those extended staplers.
Possibly, although,
I'll look, it's from, is it coloured or black and white? Colour. It's probably, with that amount, if you're looking at 700 copies, it's probably going to be cheaper to get it printed.
Professionally.
A5 would be difficult to use on actually a Xerox or something, because the collation, they can do A4s, A3, but A5, I don't think they cater for.
Yeah, I mean, you just, the way you set it out would be on the other side of A4, but it's the thing is, what if you don't print it directly from the computer, you lose a level of quality, and with colour that can be quite significant.
Crossway press.
We can probably consider. And another call for everybody to try and come back with whatever is on, whatever events you know are on. If you know of any street parties, do just let us know, because then it'd be just nice to put it in this little book, so people can say, I lived in Midsomer in 2023 or whatever, and this was on, so that's what we're after. So feedback welcome, otherwise I'll just keep on making stuff up.
I did too,
You did, you got that.
The afternoon social will be on
So that
Thursday
we
afternoon.
need some times and bits and
2
bobs.
till 5,
2 till 5.
First Thursday.
Okay, I'll try my best to get more done this week and over the Easter weekend probably, and then get it done early. If it doesn't happen, that's where we're at. But we've got a bit. So that's the update.
Right, thank you very much for that. So on to 278, Norton Radstock Greenway National Grid Storm Resilience Tree Management along the Wellow Brook Walk.
There's a short report in your pack. Basically, I think National Grid have got a lot of power lines over there, so there's quite a lot of tree work that's got to be done. New Leaf Studios, who's the council's contractor, has reviewed the proposals. We went on site, walked through it with Highline and Baines and National Grid as well. So the recommendation is to grant permission to proceed subject to conditions suggested, which is that Highline keeps the Town Council informed of its programme and when they are on site, so the council can monitor any potential damage that Highline may need to make good on the site. That they liaise with the New Leaf Studios final details. So that's the request from council.
We were sent 3 separate attachments. What was the difference between?
That's different areas.
Different areas.
But
No, they are different areas.
Yeah, different locations.
3 different sections.
I did right.
Well,
I know that looks good, but you've got to look at them.
no, when you're going to hear that's the first part.
Yeah, one is
That's the
one
next bit.
Yeah.
That's the
going
next
through.
bit. That's the next bit. All the way up to where the power thing is. That's in one document.
Yeah.
So I can understand what the difference between that document and the second one. Which are the same images going from Norton Road along there all the way through to the
quite clever, I read it differently.
I don't know whether I got
They were exactly the same document.
all 3 of us. Anyway,
Yeah, not different trees.
I was finding it didn't seem to suggest any, because I've walked there quite a lot, and there don't seem to be, there are power lines there, but the trees aren't, to my eye, close to the power lines.
Right, that's what I was going to ask all that.
Yeah.
I think what they've done, they've identified trees all the way along there as part of their records anyway. And what they're going to do, they're going to identify the trees which need to be removed. What they do, so they've got all the trees there, and then they're going to identify certain trees which will be marked for 6 feet up or something.
It talks about
called
pruning
storm
resilience
resilience,
and working on the crown. It doesn't. I can't find any that say.
Well, there were 1 or 2 that they were going to take my time.
It says carry out TRA at the moment, doesn't it? Tree removal assessment. So I don't think it says on there to remove, to reduce crowns, things like that. I'm just concerned that we lose. I know it says as a sort of at the beginning, it's an amenity and it's it's an important amenity for the people, and it's encourages wildlife. So they say that is a factor. And obviously, the safety wise and for electricity wise or whatever.
It's preventative maintenance, really.
But yeah, we do need to be informed of what's going on before we find like in a lot of the area, you find there's just tree trunks there and not the trees are.
Well, that's what they're saying. But
Some of
let
it
us
is
know.
copper still only, aren't they?
Yeah. Okay. We just need to keep.
There is a section in there about the placement of the logs in whole sections. I hope they make them a little bit heavier this time, because the last ones all went to people's log burners. They're stacks with their clothes and they just all disappear.
It does say yet to be determined where they go, aren't they? There's an idea to send them as a town park, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I think there's going to be they might have been put down there in stacks just to encourage the wildlife to go into them.
Yeah.
But they didn't get a chance because there's all this stuff.
Something on there.
I was just going to say, has any consultation been with the residents?
They will have to do that.
Because you don't want to get to the stage where we had last time with, the people who, taking away vegetation, which is straight in front of their house. So as long as they've been consulted, then, I'm happy.
They don't plan to touch the brambles and stuff, the low level stuff is certain trees which they think are going to be, like there's 2 oaks there they're talking about removing. Because of potential, well, it could be many years for that to happen.
As long as the residents are happy with it,
Right, so,
They are aware of that.
Right.
yes, yeah. Okay, so are we going to approve this?
What's the proposal?
Yeah, we can have a proposal, Steve, second there? Yes, Pete, and you're all happy for them to tell us when they think that there's something needs doing?
That's what they're going to do. They're
Yes.
going to have a look and tell us what they're going to do. Yeah. Okay.
I will ask them to, I will confirm they've consulted and
Okay.
they carry out.
Do you have to talk to the actual decision on it?
Well,
It's as outlined on the recommendation, which is to grant permission to proceed, subject to keeping us informed. And they liaise with Univ Studios over details and that confirmation they've consulted the president.
Right.
just one, yeah. Okay, yeah? All right, are you all happy with that? Yes, okay, right.
There is, there's just a general update on that as well, so anybody's got any questions about that. So maybe it's to do with the park. Well, I am reliably informed that originally they were going to start laying the park on the 12th of April, but they might well have started today.
When was it
So,
called, sorry?
In the park?
in
Oh, the
Wellington.
Well,
Has anybody just gone off the answer again, has anybody looked at Wellington lately?
well, that's what we're
That's
talking
what
about,
we're
that's the one we're talking
They're
about.
just about to do the works that we agreed in February.
What, our meeting we went to,
Mm.
is that the one, is it?
Mm.
Popping up, because it was soaking wet and big puddles the other week, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the report that is, I forget the type of name, but I more or less slammed my observations because it seemed like they never did expect it to perform how we wanted it to anyway.
Right.
So they have signed it,
They took us back, wasn't it?
so unfortunately just we didn't ask for a higher spec maybe, which would have cost enormous amount of money.
Yeah.
Okay then, so on to 279, the river channel signs. So you've all got the report.
Right, with the first ones, which are tall ones, where are they going?
Well, that's what they've said about,
Yeah,
I can't understand what they're for.
it was all in the thing, and I don't know where where those are. Maybe they it's
Not less than
I have no idea.
I think they're on the main route. There was
the river on the high street.
Yeah, but they're far too high.
Yeah. When, shall I?
yeah, can't see.
Yes, sorry,
When we
Pete.
first talked about it, all we thought about was having two signs, either end,
No, look at the flappers, yeah.
like the smaller ones,
Yeah,
fixed to the railings,
that's it.
either end, so that people could have a look at them and see what's going on.
Right.
I don't know what those tall ones are about.
No idea what
No,
they're
they were part of the email, so I thought you might know.
No.
So the two options are either freestanding, so they'd have to put the interpretation panel on an actual stand, and the second one is secured to the existing balustrade. So the request is to decide which you would like. Bearing in mind that there's on page 16 there are pros and cons to both of them.
Well, they've got the one which is bolted in down into the forward holes. I'm not sure how they're planning to do it into the pavement. Another one is to attach it to the railings. My view as an engineer, and what quite likely to happen around here, is you put them on the pavement and clamp them on the railings. If the likelihood of what could happen if someone on the site that sits on it, kick it, it needs to be a bit stronger than just bolting in one place or the other.
Yeah.
On page 7, where the pictures are,
Yeah, here.
yeah, that looks a bit tougher, doesn't it?
They're different to all the other freestanding ones there, aren't they?
as opposed to these.
Yeah, so this is what's
I think you might find the residents
Yeah.
in Midsomer Norton are tougher still.
That's the sort of
Yeah.
Well, like you said,
That's what I was expecting.
you could actually have that fixed down into the ground, and that's still fixed to the balustrade.
On the back
Give
of
you
the
those.
As well.
Yeah, exactly.
What I think, Richard. That's more in line with what Steve was thinking about, I think. That's
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
want for children.
That's all you
You
need is
said
one
it's
other
on
end.
that step.
Yeah.
Actually, on the end,
On the end.
each end bend.
Then.
That's where I was expecting to go, not actually on the side, but each end.
That's
Yeah.
obviously with footings, that would be.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's for us. But then my view would be to bolt into the paving stones.
the council has the permission to attach to the railings and into the ground, isn't it? That would be right. So
They've been
do
on
we know
this,
that?
they've been on this Norton Town Council as well.
The railings belong to this Norton Town Council.
Right, and the ground.
We might have to get permission from things to do that,
Yeah.
but that would be something we'd have to ask, wouldn't it?
Because I asked about repairing that one that's broken down the bottom. It's been 2.5 years now with that barrier still there.
Yeah.
It's not been repaired. But the legislation that Baines have imposed on it is unbelievable.
What?
Do a bit of welding.
No, it's nothing, it's to do with the gas board.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a gas pipe,
Yeah,
there's a gas pipe running
That's what I
underneath
said.
it.
It's because of the
Yes, not to Baines, it's the gas.
Baines have also said that we must get that covered with fire blankets and fire equipment there. Because I was there dealing with Donna,
Yeah.
and I was the one that called them down to put the barriers up because somebody fell in, nearly fell in, because it just slipped away.
No, I chased it up with Jo, and then she said it can't be done until the gas board decide to turn up.
Strange. It's a steel pipe below anyway.
Well, I mean, gas board would be on site when you're.
They have to be on site when the welding's done, because there's a gas pipe running across the river.
Oh, that's more recent than what I asked.
That's why it's not been done.
But I know a guy that could do it, but without welding it.
That's what we want.
So-
We want something like that.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, the
Yeah.
railings and the
So,
both
if we
parts.
have to get permission to bolt it to the ground, that would be Baines then, wouldn't it? So is that something we need to look into?
Yeah.
Well, if you could agree
when
you want to freestanding plus bolted to the railings, I can then go back and say we want double whammy, but make sure we've
There's an alternative, if you had it bolted to the ground and they're placed directly against the railings,
you can just
the forces they're going to exert on there will only go back towards the railings because no one's going to try and put it like that, I would have thought.
No.
But it's when they kick forward.
So pull it forward, can't you?
But it's if there's got restraints behind it, it's less likely to go in. But I'd like to see a clamp there to stop
Yes.
anybody trying to put it on.
I don't think we have a problem with clamping it to the railings, it's because they're ours. So it's the ground that, so if we've got to get permission from Baines to do that, fine.
I think we should just
Not a
look for
problem.
permission.
Wasn't that going to find with Edward Heritage originally? That was part of the project, the town,
The high street.
High Street, those signs, I recall.
Yeah.
Yes, but then had we agreed with Heritage that we could bolt it to the ground if we needed to?
I think that would be down to them to do it because they're the ones that organised the
Well, we could ask them.
funding for it.
Well,
you know what
let's
problems-
make the inquiries.
You know what problems we have with the bridge with the steelwork under the
Yeah.
cenotaph, that the
Well,
cost
we
there.
want to put these up.
Yeah.
So, are we agreeing that we want the ones that are fixed to the ground and fixed to the railings?
Yeah.
Are you all saying yes?
Yeah. I'm not taking part, so
Well,
I'm
you
quite sure I agree with the science, but
I
could
think
let
I
everybody
just
else.
think
Okay.
that
So if that's going to go ahead, then we need to just check up that of what we can do and what other people would do. Yes? Do you think that's a good idea to make some inquiries?
Just as base, can we bolt it to your bit of
Yeah?
pavement? Going on to the design of the actual picture, how is that made? What is it made of? Is it perspex? Is it laser? Is
I think there must be something that is no. Well, here we've got sustainable steel backplate, durable support panel, graphic panel, stainless steel frame, and tamper-resistant fixing.
What's the graphic panel made of?
I don't know that it actually says
Because
that.
if it's something someone can drop fuel on, lighter fuel, and burn it, that's no good. They stuff the cigarettes out and then we've got pots all over it. What type of material is it? Or should we look at maybe a laser etched one on stainless steel?
Well, perhaps we ask them. Just physically ask them.
Because laser is very cheap to get done now.
Can I ask then, so coming in late to this?
Oh, we're not
this,
looking at those.
No, well they're on the document, right?
No, there's something wrong there. Something.
Okay, right, so this is funded through the Heritage, through Edward Heritage's High Street thing, is it? Or are we, because
Yeah,
council paying it directly?
It came through with the Heritage High Street thing. With,
And that they've organised.
with Edward Heritage, did a lot of design work, didn't they?
And that's all happened, and we're just being asked about
Where and
the
what?
format.
Yeah.
Right. But then all the money has been allocated for the, with the different.
That's not.
Certainly the money was allocated for this anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And these are showing going
Because the one you're
down into the ground.
the one you're showing to me, the last one there, is a symbol that is probably
That's what I'm saying, that's all you need, is you need one on either end, you need one where McCall's used to be.
But are we not, so we're not being asked about all this complicated thing, or are we?
You don't need it, do you?
We don't really do it. No.
You only need two, one at the post office end, and one at McCall's end, or what used to be
Or maybe
McCall's.
one more up by where the active space and etc.
So are we just being asked to help do it, to get the permissions, or to pass a design of the...
That's the design.
Right.
That's the design of the interpretation.
Okay.
And that's my, that's what he's asking. I don't know where the noticeables came in. That's
So that's the simplest one, more straightforward one.
presume that's been done through New Leaf, isn't it? And Stone Barn, because I think Stone Barns are given some of the information on what plants they put in, and then New Leaf are liaising with them together to come up with a format for the design.
So, could we ask the question of the durability of the graphic face? In case it's something that could be damaged.
Yeah, I know in the early days it was told to New Leaf, look, you're going to have to make sure you've got something that's going to be resilient.
Yeah.
So I presume they have. But we can get that anyway.
Because you could put one of these up by Tube Valley and it's not going to get damaged because they're just throwing bread at the birds. But down there, if you put the boots into it.
So we need to get a bit more information then, to what.
I think we know what we want, we just want to just confirm the.
Okay, so report. Get some final bit of information about
Get a bit more information of the
how it's going to be fixed.
graphic face.
Yes. Can we pass that to
Or do both. Or
Yeah.
I would move back.
That'd be brilliant, thank you. Right, so on to 280, planning applications. So the first one, Midsomer Norton Sports Centre. Replace the existing adventure play equipment with create foraging area and picnic tables with associated hard and soft landscaping.
This is absolutely fantastic.
Okay with that?
Yeah, everybody happy?
I didn't know if we could quickly make a comment, if you've read through it, fairly late in the day for that application, they've had to get a biodiversity net gain assessment, an arboricultural survey, an arboricultural impact assessment, an arboricultural method statement, a landscapes and ecological management plan survey done. And all these surveys together have almost used up the majority of the grant money we gave them towards this project. And it seems to me almost over the top, considering all we're doing is replacing a disused derelict play park with a new play park. So can we say something like that, or is it not helpful? That's the only comment I had to make. It's a fantastic project. It just seems like an awful lot of surveys have had to be done.
It's a lot of information required to go the wrong thing. Considering this is next to a spoil tip, full of contaminants and all sorts in there.
It's an existing play park, isn't it? It's not like they're building it. I didn't know if it's worth making a point about that. Maybe it's not. Otherwise, we would support it. So we just support it.
Yeah, I don't support it. Can't do it.
Okay. The next one, Highfields on Silver Street. Gosh, that's been going for ages too, hasn't it? Approval of reserved matters with regard to the previous application, which was an outline planning application with all matters reserved, save for access for the erection of 2 houses. Yes, the one up the top.
The tatty garage.
The one at the end of those going up on the left-hand side.
It's the one you can see coming down over Phillips Hill, straight ahead.
Yes.
Got a fantastic view.
Great. Is this one where they wanted to put lots of flats and only room for about 6 cars?
No, that was further down the road.
Oh, right.
These would have just sold all that land for building there.
Yeah.
And can I propose we don't make a comment?
I'm happy. How does everyone feel about that? No
Okay,
comment?
fine. Nothing wrong with that. Good.
So on to the next one. Midsomer Norton Town Council Hall, the island.
I need to declare an interest.
Just note this one, to note.
I have a relationship with that. Isn't that true? Shouldn't you have to declare some sort of interest?
Well, you don't comment. No.
Oh, right,
it's
I feel we should support it.
Oh, we should support it.
No, that would be the open challenge review since the best applications.
Okay, so we're going with no comment for that one? Yeah? Okay, righty ho. So on to item 281, Civic Awards. Verbal update on this?
Yeah, I think Joe sent some information out to members. Unfortunately, it's one thing I didn't download. I think we can't remember what closing date was, but was everybody happy with the proposed nominations that were provided within that? Because I think there have been some nominations.
It's in the journal this week, isn't it?
About it.
The list of categories.
Yeah.
So
we have put some applicant names in.
But it's not decided yet, is it?
no, so it's just that's happened. So we will just we'll wait until the closing date and then agree the nominations.
Yeah. Fine. Right, yes. Sorry everyone, but thank you so much for coming. We really mean that too, because we like people who've taken the bother to come.
No, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Okay, bye all.
See you again.
Take care, bye.